Imagine you wake up one morning and notice everything around you is just a tiny bit different. Maybe you're in the same house, but furniture is slightly out of place. Your favorite coffee mug is there, but it has a crack you don't remember, and you could have sworn your coffee maker was black, but this one is chrome. And just as you think that you're going crazy, you feel a strange tingling sensation and hear a buzzing in your ears. A flash of light, the buzzing stops, and you feel dizzy. As you regain your balance, you look around. Everything seems back to normal. The coffee maker is black, your mug is not cracked. So what was that? A dream? Your imagination? It seemed so real. Are you just overtired, or are you going crazy? Or maybe you somehow slipped through the multiverse for a brief moment, squishing lives with yourself in an alternate reality. There are documented cases of this happening to people all over the world. This happened to a man traveling through Tokyo Airport. When he presented his passport, the authorities were baffled. The passport was genuine. The only problem was the country that issued it didn't exist. Quantum mechanics sounds like science fiction. Things happen at the quantum level that we just don't understand. For instance, we can measure the position of an electron, but where things get weird is before you measure the position of that electron. It behaves like a wave, and this is proved by the double-slit experiment. I won't go into that now, but we covered it in detail in our episode about simulation theory, which is linked below. If you watch that video, make sure you've got a brain bucket handy. Anyway, you can think of the wave function as the sum of all the positions of an electron simultaneously. So, it exists everywhere. It exists everywhere at the same time. I know, even famous physicist John Wheeler said, "If you're not completely confused by quantum mechanics, you don't understand it." He was right about that. As soon as you measure that electron, it locks into that one unique position. But many scientists believe there are universes that exist for every position of that electron. And in those infinite universes, there are infinite versions of you. This is called the many worlds theory. Every time a quantum measurement is taken, the universe branches off into another parallel universe. Since there are an infinite number of these universes, out there somewhere is a reality where dinosaurs didn't go extinct. There's a universe where Americans lost the war for independence, even a universe where you're a big movie star. They're all out there. But nobody thought those realities could interact with each other. Until 2014, scientists proposed a theory based on many worlds called many interacting worlds. This theory says that not only do infinite parallel universes exist, but they can and do interact with each other. This might explain why Lorena Garcia woke up one morning wearing different pajamas. She went to work, and someone else was in her office. She worked in the same building, but now was in a different department and worked for a boss she didn't know. And when she got home, her ex-boyfriend was there, but they broke up months ago. Or in 1851, Joseph Warren was found wandering around Frankfurt, Germany. When authorities asked him where he was from, he said the country of Laxaria. When he was shown a map, he knew the geography of the Earth perfectly well, but to him, the continents were named Sacria, Aflar, Aslar, Oslar, and Uplar. Another incident happened in 1905. A man was caught stealing a loaf of bread in Paris. When he was captured by the police, he spoke a language no one could recognize. They figured out he was saying he was from Lesbia, thinking he meant Lisbon. Portuguese interpreters were brought in, but they said they had no idea what language he was speaking, but it was definitely not Portuguese. And that takes us to the story about the man from Torred, who somehow drifted out of his own universe and into our own, launching a mystery that would last for almost 70 years. When you mention parallel universes, the eyes sort of roll up and you giggle and you say to yourself, this is just silly, this is nuts. However, things have changed now. The paradigm has shifted. The multiverse idea, once thought to be so crazy it only belonged on evening night television, has now become the dominant theory in cosmology. It's unavoidable. You cannot avoid the theory of the multiverse. In 1952, 7 years after a brutal war with the Allies and subsequent occupation by American forces, Japan was once again free. It shifted its economy from a military focus to industries like technology and finance, and this new market created tremendous opportunities. People from all over the world poured into Japan daily, usually coming through Haneda Airport in Tokyo. It was a hot afternoon in July 1954, and the airport was buzzing. These were the days before full-body scanners or the removal of laptops and shoes. Travelers back then didn't have to deal with all that nonsense, but they still had to present a passport to airport security and customs agents. A businessman, middle-aged, Caucasian, with dark hair and a beard, made his way to the front of the line. He handed over his passport, which was filled with stamps of the countries he'd recently visited. The customs agent looked puzzled. He glanced up at the man, back to the passport, up at the man again, and asked his name. "Broderick Gennansfer," said the man. "Date of birth?" the man replied. 11th of September, 88. So far, so good. Then the agent asked, "Country of birth?" The man replied very casually, "I'm from Torred." The customs agent had never heard of a country called Torred, but there are 200 countries in the world, and some of them are smaller than even the smallest states in the U.S. So, the agent called a colleague over. The second agent was also confused. He, too, had never heard of a country called Torred. Neither did the agent's supervisor. Then the customs agent asked Mr. Gennansfer, "Do you think you could show us on a map where Torred is?" Now Gennansfer was getting annoyed, but what's he supposed to do? So he says, "Of course." And then he's taken to a private room to prove to the officers that he was telling the truth. And so, the multiverse is not just some invention out of the ether, it flows out of an application of quantum mechanics to general relativity. We're not completely there yet with a full solution, but it's why the idea is taken seriously. It's not just an invention. Broderick Gennansfer, the man from Torred, was visibly upset. Now the officers brought him a map of Europe and asked him to point out Torred. Without hesitation, he pointed to a small country on the border of France and Spain. Now, this made sense to the customs officers because even though Gennansfer was speaking Japanese, he did have a French accent, but the problem wasn't his language. It was his country. The officers told him that he was pointing to the Principality of Andorra, and there's no such place as Torred. Gennansfer started arguing. He said the Kingdom of Torred is 1,000 years old, and he'd never heard of anything called Andorra, which he thought sounded fake. Gennansfer then said he had traveled through this very airport twice this month and never had a problem. He had stamps in his passport to prove it. Now, this was easy enough to check. The customs agents confirmed that the stamps were authentic, but they still weren't convinced of his story. Gennansfer took out his wallet to show the agents. As a business traveler, he carried different currencies with him. The customs agents examined the money he had, currency from Japan and several European nations, but he also had money from Torred, which seemed like real currency, except for the fact that there's no such place. He also had traveler's checks. Unfortunately for him, the checks were issued by a bank that didn't exist. The agents started to suspect that Gennansfer might be up to no good, maybe a criminal or a spy. They asked where he was staying. Gennansfer gave them the number of his hotel and assured the agents that he had been on the phone with them that morning, making his reservation. They called the hotel, and it was there, but they had no reservation under this man's name. The hotel could have made a mistake, so Gennansfer instructed the agents to call his office in Tokyo. Surely this would settle the matter. They called the company, but they had no record of an employee named Broderick Gennansfer, the man from Torred. The customs agents were stunned. They couldn't explain how Gennansfer had valid stamps in his passport, currency from a non-existent country, and knowledge of specific details about Torred if it didn't exist. And that's where the mystery of the man from Torred begins. It raises questions about the nature of reality, the existence of parallel universes, and the possibility of slipping through the fabric of space-time into alternate dimensions. The case of Broderick Gennansfer remains unsolved, leaving us to ponder the mysteries of the multiverse and the strange phenomena that occasionally blur the boundaries between worlds. In conclusion, the story of the Man from Torred is a captivating legend that has intrigued people for decades. While it is important to note that the tale itself lacks concrete evidence, it serves as a thought-provoking entry point into the realm of parallel universes and the multiverse theory. The concept of parallel universes, where alternate versions of our reality may exist, has long fascinated scientists and enthusiasts alike. While we may not have direct proof of interdimensional travel or encounters with individuals from other worlds, exploring these ideas opens up a realm of possibilities and sparks our imagination. By delving into the legend of the Man from Torred, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the mysteries surrounding our understanding of reality. It reminds us that there are still unexplained phenomena and enigmatic stories that challenge our existing knowledge and inspire us to continue exploring the unknown. As we continue our journey of discovery, we invite you to join our channel and be a part of our community. By subscribing, you'll gain access to more fascinating content that delves into intriguing topics like the multiverse theory, parallel universes, and other mind-bending concepts. Stay updated with our latest videos and be part of the conversation as we delve deeper into the mysteries that surround us. Subscribe now and become a part of our community of curious minds, where we explore the wonders of the universe, unravel legends, and contemplate the possibilities of parallel dimensions. Let's embark on this incredible journey together.